Hi, welcome to Sandwich Revolver.
I'm John.
I'm Carl.
And this is the show where we like to review movies and video games.
This week we're going to be talking about
Alien Covenant.
Oh! And we're going to tell you what we think. Was it good?
Was it bad?
Who knows?
We might.
We saw it. We'll talk about it.
And you'll find out soon.
Indeed.
I'd like to bring up that today I am drinking a Mission Brewery Plunder IPA.
Yes, we went to the beer store and they didn't have any alien beer.
No, it was really bizarre.
So-
You'd think that Bevmo would have something.
So he got a pirate beer.
Yes.
And I got this beaver beer that has to do with mangoes.
We felt that pirates and beavers were the most fitting thing for alien-related topics today.
Yep. So, here we go.
Cheers! How's your beer, Carl?
That's really fucking delicious.
That's really good. But we're not here to review beer.
No, but if you want us to review beer, let us know.
Yeah, leave a comment below on beers that you like. Anyway, we're gonna get crack-lagging on Alien Covenant.
Alien Covenant.
Spoiler warning, by the way.
Yes.
Full spoilers.
Spoilers all the way. We thought about not doing spoilers in the last episode, but there's no way
Yeah.
to do Alien Covenant and not talk about
also,
spoilers.
it's been out for a few weeks.
Yeah, go see it. If you haven't seen it yet and you want to see it, push stop and go see the movie.
And then come back.
We'll be waiting here for you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so story.
In a nutshell,
Uh-huh.
I mostly liked it.
Mostly like it.
Definitely, I'd give it 8 out of 10.
I would, yes, maybe B minus, 7.5 out of 10. Definitely not a C. It was a B movie story, and I hate to say that.
But that's how the Alien franchise has always been.
It's always been a B movie.
In a way, when you think of the story on paper, it is. But what makes the Alien franchise special, it's somehow the way it's shot. It's a B movie plot, but shot with like A-list material and quality. So in terms of a sequel to Prometheus, I liked it. One of the reasons I liked it is because it's not your typical, here's what happens next. You could almost watch this movie by itself because it is both a brand new Alien movie, but it is also the sequel to Prometheus. And it is both. In the end, you can see, here's the parts where it ties to Prometheus, but you could almost watch it by itself. But it helps if you've seen the prequel.
You could be like a guy who's been living under a rock for the last 30 years and walk into this movie and go, oh, it has scary looking monsters in it. Let's go watch it.
Mostly.
And you'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
What parts did you like?
So, since I don't have to worry about spoilers here, I really liked the new aliens that were introduced that we've never seen before. I feel like that's something essential that the Alien franchise as a whole has been lacking. And one of the things I liked about Prometheus was introducing new things. So like there's this new alien called the Neomorph, which instead of the typical chest burster, it's a pod that if you step on it, it releases like an airborne toxin kind of thing, and it enters any kind of orifice, the nose, the ears.
I think it's just nose and the ears. We haven't seen it go through some.
Yeah, that's all we saw in the movie, but I believe it could probably enter any orifice. That's how it appeared. Versus the face hugger,
which goes right down your mouth.
Yes. So it seems to always be the same.
Right down your throat.
I don't think it will clench your butthole. So David is back, obviously. Not obviously.
Not obviously, but he's back.
But he's back, and he's fantastic. Again, spoiler-wise, he's the villain of this, and he's still very likable.
Yeah, this time around we're dealing with a colony ship. I know with Alien you had...
they were just a mining
They were
vessel.
truck drivers, essentially.
Basically, yes, space truck drivers.
Space truck drivers, and then Aliens, you had Marines. In Alien 3, you had prisoners. In Alien 4, you had pirates?
No, they were like smugglers or bounty hunters.
They were like criminals, though.
Yeah.
No, not criminals. They were kind of like...
They were shady. They were
shady
underground.
mercenary people for hire.
And scientists.
And scientists. There was a good mix.
It was the first time.
It was like the Joss Whedon mix of people. He was a screenwriter on that.
He was.
Yeah, but this time around, you have couples on a mission to make a colony on a faraway planet to repopulate, create a life for themselves.
And it's funny because the planet they're planning to go to is much farther away than the planet that they find.
Yes.
And the planet they find, in terms of like livability, is far more perfect than the one that they originally set out for. Mm-hmm. It's like it's too perfect.
Yeah.
It's like a paradise.
Mm-hmm. I did like the new thing, the new alien, the protomorphs, the white guys.
Oh, the neomorph.
Neomorphs.
Yeah.
I thought they were very vicious and scary.
Yeah.
This time around.
They reminded me of velociraptors from.
Kind of, yeah. They jump on your face and just rip at your face.
Yeah.
I did like the way they were born.
Yes.
They were just like, it was really gross. They would go in through your ear and then they'd like grow inside your chest. And instead of popping out like in the original movies, they would
They would burst out.
They would like burst out of your back. And it was very gross and very...
Great body horror.
Great body horror, great gore stuff going on. That was neat. The idea that a robot built the xenomorphs is kind of cool.
There's so many people ever since the original Alien that have made their own stories of like, oh, there's a xenomorph homeworld and the predators hunt them and they've been around thousands of years, but none of that has technically ever been considered canon because that's just a property that someone just ran with and no one said stop. But now that basically the creator of Alien, Ridley Scott, has pretty much come and said that's all wrong.
No. Yeah.
Anyway,
so let's talk about what we didn't like.
Yes, there are things. It's not perfect. Mm-hmm. It's not. It's B minus. It's an 8. For my dislikes, I like to point out that I think the good far outweighs the bad for this film. But as far as bad, there's like 2 interesting promotional videos for this movie that were like commercials, and I originally avoided watching them because I thought they were clips from the movie. And I'm like, I want nothing. I want 0 spoilers. But then I researched and found out that they are not in the movie. So, and I guess it sounds like it's sort of important to watch to know what's happening. It's almost like needing to read or watch extra media outside the main thing. Mm-hmm. I don't love that. I don't know why that was part of it, because I bet a lot of people...
Wait, so there was stuff that was necessary to watch?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know this.
That's a shame.
That's like the card thing in Destiny.
Yes.
With where the story is...
The Grimoire cards.
The Grimoire cards, which I didn't even know about. Which I knew about, but I didn't care about.
Yeah, how are you supposed to know about it?
Yeah.
But so anyway, back to Alien Covenant. Like, they weren't released as trailers. Some of the footage is in the trailers from the promotional videos. Like, there's a scene where the main character, Daniels, says, that it's a ship of couples. But that's in a trailer that's also released in its own separate promotional clip.
I haven't seen that.
That's not in the movie, though. That scene's not in the movie. And so you watch it, it's possible you don't get that. Because you also see James Franco for about a minute or two, and he's established as the captain of the ship. But when you watch the film, if you haven't watched the clip, you see like 5 seconds of a dazed James Franco, and then he dies.
James Franco, if you're expecting him to be in this movie, you will be very disappointed, because he dies in the very beginning.
Yeah.
What I didn't like about it was some of the character decisions. I really didn't like that the captain was as stupid as he was.
The Faith.
Yeah. James Franco dies, and his first mate, who is played by Billy Crudup, he becomes the captain, and he's so wary, but he uses his faith. He believes in God, and his faith helps him get through this stuff. That's fine. That could have been really cool, but they don't really do anything with it. They have a moment where he is confronted with David, and David has just figured out that an alien has killed one of this captain's crew, and he's sort of fascinated with the alien, and he's trying to befriend it. And the captain sees this and realizes, oh, David's not to be trusted, and he's in cahoots with the aliens. So instead of shooting David, the captain doesn't do anything. He shoots the alien, and then he talks to David, and David's like, hey, I want to show you something. He shows him where the eggs are, and
the classic facehugger eggs.
The classic facehugger eggs.
Alien.
And then you can imagine what happens next, and he has a facehugger on his face.
He says, take a look.
Yeah, exactly.
He has no reason to trust him. Like, there's nothing to be gained by letting him live. And the scene could have played out if he trusted him. But...
yeah. They could have had a little more fun and betrayal with it.
I mean, I agree with you there as well. But you probably agree with me with that extra material because you didn't even know it existed.
Oh, definitely. I as far as extra material goes, I really don't like that in films.
Well, it's not often that happens.
Yeah, whenever I hear about it happening, I'm just like, okay, can I still like the movie without seeing this extra stuff? Because if that's the case, then you have all the extra stuff in the world. It'd be like if you couldn't understand Lord of the Rings without reading the Silmarillion.
I mean, it's totally possible to watch this film.
Yeah.
But things make a little more sense if you've seen the little demo trailers that they released for it. But moving on, what did you think of Ridley Scott as the director for his now sequel/prequel to his masterworks?
He's taken the reins of the franchise now.
Yeah.
Before it was they passed it to each person, but now he's like, this is his franchise.
Well, it's just so interesting that after 40 years, it's really been that long. Or close to it. So I think it's like 38 or 39.
Yeah. As far as his directing goes, I thought he did a great job. Ridley Scott has never really let me down. He's definitely more of a visual director than an actor's director.
It's almost like he doesn't quite give everyone his attention.
Yeah.
Because the actors that stand out, they really stand out.
Yeah.
Because I've heard that he's a very good hands-on director, but I've also heard that he likes to work very quickly.
The guy who steals the show in this movie is Fassbender.
Sort of like how he did in Prometheus as well.
Fassbender plays two roles. He plays David and Walter. And there's a few scenes in this movie where he's just talking to himself. It's really believable.
It looks like there's two guys there.
There's two guys there. Billy Crudup. I like Billy Crudup a lot. I felt like there wasn't a lot for him to do.
No, I think that's been the problem, is not the actors, but it's a lack of material for them to work with.
Catherine Waterston was fine. You really related with her. You liked her immediately, which is kind of cool.
It's actually neat to see her do this.
There's a great supporting cast in this movie.
I think I wanted to point out. I feel like the extra characters were more memorable and believable than the ones in Prometheus. Danny McBride.
Danny McBride was a big surprise for me because
he held back.
I've seen Danny McBride and just play really mean asshole, and they pass it off as comedy.
Mm-hmm.
But he was actually kind of a cool guy. He's like a gruff space guy.
Unfortunately, I can't remember. Like, we've discussed a lot of the characters' names, but in their moments that they have, whether they're sick from the infection, or they're being attacked by one of the monsters or creatures, or just running scared. There's a whole bunch of people that I don't remember their name, but in this scene, I'm actually scared for them. I'm rooting for them. There's no one that you're like, oh, they're awful. Just die.
Yeah.
No one's a horrible person, and no one is.
That's me.
Too stupid.
You bring that up. There's no unlikable characters except for maybe David. But even David...
But that's part of...
There's something about him that's just, like, fascinating to watch.
He's a charmer. He's a seductress.
Yeah, he's a temptress.
I personally believe Ridley Scott is just one of the top of his game directors out there when it comes to the visuals. You can count on it looking as good as it could.
I have to say, this time around, the spaceship was a lot better looking than it was in Prometheus. Design-wise, it was way cooler.
Well, I almost felt like Prometheus, that's the name of the ship, and then Alien Covenant. Covenant is the name of the ship. But Prometheus, the ship didn't feel like that much of a character, whereas Covenant, it does, because also the ship doesn't get destroyed by the end of the movie, because it's housing all of the colonists ready to be woken up.
Yeah,
and it's their home. It's not just the ship that's like, it's just sent out to do things.
It's a very likable ship.
But no, like, if you're going to think of, like, a vehicle for a character. It was a better vessel to be memorable than the Prometheus was.
Mm-hmm. Going on in the vein of visual effects, the alien was, for the most part, a guy in a costume.
The xenomorph?
Alien? Yeah, the xenomorph was a guy in a costume. Was it the protomorphs? The white guys?
The neomorph.
Neomorphs. Yeah, that was a guy in a costume for the parts where it was...
Man-sized.
Man-sized, yes, because they grew. But yeah, guy in a costume. The blood was there. Blood wasn't CG.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of blood.
A lot of blood. And I mean, and the sets.
The sets were there.
Practical, like they built them.
There was a lot of stuff there. So, John, what did you think of the cinematography in this movie, Alien Covenant?
I honestly thought it was really great. I can't think of anything particularly bad to point out about it. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not like it's shot in a spectacular fashion that's like never been done.
But novel about it.
But he gets some really great shots. Like you could just take a picture out of like hundreds of shots in the film and just take a freeze frame and be like, that looks beautiful.
I think the director of photography did a great job. He definitely did a very professional piece of work there. Yeah, well done.
Was there anything you didn't like about it?
I don't think I liked the scene where Daniels fights the alien on the rescue rig.
On the shuttle?
Yeah, I can't tell if that was the cinematographer's fault or if it was the editor's fault. Or it just went by too quickly.
Yeah.
It might have been where they had shot something, but it was too spaced out and they cut it too much, or a lot of it was the CGI and they just made it really, really, really short.
I think, like I was saying, there's a bunch of shots that you can just take a still frame. That's because they linger on shots for a long time. I would agree with you on the pacing.
Not a lot of lingering there.
No, there's only the one scene that you see in the trailers, which is when you get that really good clean shot of the xenomorph.
Where he's like
like on the windshield.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean that's like the only thing I can think of, and that's because they clearly are like, all right.
That's a practical shot too.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely felt the sound was competent. I don't remember it very well, so it's not like sticks with you music. Mm-hmm. I'm sure if I got the soundtrack, I would like listening to it. I
mean, I know this applies to just about every movie, but the sound very much complements what is happening. But that's because it very much goes like a hand in hand with the visual effect.
One thing I will say about the sound design, like the sound effects, is that I felt like they could have been better, a little bit better. Guns could be louder, slime could be slippier, blood could be grosser. The sound effect of when the aliens come out of the guy's back is really good.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a... it's not a fart. But it is very...
You hear how gross it is.
This movie, like all the other Aliens movies, is very gross.
Yep.
And that's good.
I personally really liked the soundtrack, but I don't just mean the parts where it's like the obvious score playing to the scene, but like the slow, like all the terror and creepiness is great, and it's because of the ambiance that comes with it. And so it's like one example of that I remember really well is when the first guy steps on one of the pods and you see it float to his ear, and you watch it like inside his ear, and like there's a particular theme that is like sort of the theme song of the movie that you always hear whenever this infection is happening, and the sound of that music, it wasn't even exactly music. It's like an aura of sound. I mean, it was obviously orchestrated sound, but anyway, just me seeing what it was doing combined with hearing how it went, it was perfect, of creation and beauty as well as destruction and terror. Because you know that this thing is going to create life and be born, and this is its reproductive process, and so some of that beauty is in the music, but you also know this man is going to die horribly, and that's how it creates itself, is through destruction of other life, and the music also conveyed that.
It's very nice. Very well put. I that's way deeper than I thought I went. So props to that.
It's a scene that stuck with me really well.
I think that's all we can say about the music. Who did the music? Moving along to our next topic, which is comparison to video games, because that's what we do on Sandwich Revolver.
That's right. That's what we like to do. Whether we're comparing movies to video games or video games to movies, we like both genres, and there's always something to complement the other one.
Yep, and you know, when you walk out of Alien Covenant, you'll be thinking, dang, what video game do I play? You would think Alien Isolation. You would think Alien vs. Predator.
You wouldn't think Aliens Colonial Marines, because that's just terrible.
Because you'd forget about that game immediately. Mm-hmm. I would say maybe
some non-Alien games.
Oh, my mind's blank, man.
It's unique in that way, because it's not the classic, there's a monster loose in the science facility, where you could think of like Half-Life.
So this is where you can help us out, viewers. If you can think of any games that play like Alien Covenant, please let us know, because we would love to hear about it.
I really want to name at least one thing. Yeah, Dead Space.
Dead Space.
Even, this is going to sound funny, but any of the flood bits in the Halo games.
Yes, Halo, when you have the flood. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because it's an infection form, but it's on a place that they went down to, but it's not the xenomorph, it's more the infection and the monster that they're scared of and running from. Maybe even Lost Planet.
Lost Planet 1?
Just 1.
So definitely Dead Space 3 and Lost Planet 1.
And at least Halo 1, and where you encounter the flood.
Halo with the flood, yeah. Halo 1.
I think that's about it.
That's about it, yeah. Like I said, if you can think of anything else, let us know in the comments. And please explain. Don't just say Alien, of course.
We already kind of went over
We went over that, so you weren't paying attention. So, moving on. So, this review is going to be out of 6 sandwiches.
What would you give it out of 6 sandwiches, Carl?
I would give it a 4 out of 6 sandwiches, which is kind of a B 80% sort of deal.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was a B kind of movie. It was. I'm not saying B movies are bad, but I definitely wouldn't say it was an A movie. It wasn't the best thing I've seen. It wasn't the worst thing I've seen. When you're bringing out Alien, which has been a franchise that's been around for the last 40 years now.
Yeah,
at least last 30 years. You could have done a worse job, and it's pretty okay.
I would give it a 4.5 out of 6 sandwiches. Despite the fact that the film is certainly far from perfect, I appreciate the fact that, as far as I'm concerned, it's a very unique franchise that I don't think there's really any other movies that have like this scale of a budget behind it. I know there are smaller movies that do this, but I really appreciate like the fact that there is a now like 5 to 6 movie horror franchise that is paid in like a AAA movie franchise. So that's our show. Thank you for watching. Once again, I am Carl. And I'm John. And this is Sandwich Revolver, the show where we review movies and video games. Please leave your comments below, and also tell us about your favorite kind of beers. Like and subscribe. Yes, these beers are very nice. Yes, they are. Like and subscribe, and yeah, catch us next time. Thank you for watching.